say we were having a conversation um, about finances and stuff like that, and I was bringing up the point of, so you're in a relationship or you're in a marriage and you're the head of the household because you're the man, so you're paying the mortgage and whatever other bills there are. Your wife, she works if she chooses to, and she takes care of the household and the kids and stuff like that. Well, you're both are taking care of the households and the kids, but her contribution financially isn't as much as yours because you're the man of the house. And I was saying, how does that relate in a interracial relationship? Because say if you guys fall on hard times and you lose your job and you're the primary breadwinner in the household, in certain communities, how do you think that would play out?
I think it depends on the person,
Okay.
right? Because again, if based on what you explained, if I'm doing such some housework and I'm paying most of the bills, and my wife chooses to pay some of it, and it's up to her, right? She got a job and she takes care of the kids as well,
Yeah.
right? I would expect her, if I lose my job, to take out, like, be start paying the bills. Because if I've been doing it, I would expect you to do it. And of course, I'm not gonna sit around. I'm gonna look for another
Yeah, of
job.
course.
But that's just my point of view. But I mean, I'm not saying if we're both taking. Well, this how I'm gonna go about it, right? I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna pay for the bill. I'm gonna pay for this. No, 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 no. We're gonna have a bank account, like, where all our bills is gonna come from.
Yeah.
If I'm making more, or I'm working more, I'm gonna be putting large chunks of it in there, and you're gonna put in your own in there, and the bills are gonna come from there.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how it is. It's not like I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna pay this, pay this. No, no, no. Use the same account to pay for every single thing.
Okay.
As long as you put, your partner puts their
Your
own contribution in there,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, if you stop working, and they should be taking over in terms of paying the bills as well, just adding more chunks into it. That's just the way I see things.
But that's until when you get back a job and all that.
Yeah, until you get back, but
Okay,
it
I
all
agree.
depends
I
on the
agree with that.
person.
Yeah, I agree that I think it's. I mean, in an ideal world, you think that's how it should work,
Yeah.
right? That's how it's supposed to work. I mean, if I'm bringing in most of the income, then tomorrow, like today, I went to work and they told me I'm laid off. That's something I didn't not have any control of. It's not like I was doing a bad job for me to get laid off, right? It just happened that it's a bad luck for me. And at that point, I would say we should have like a conversation around like how are we gonna go about this until like I get a job again. You're the only person I'm bringing in income moving forward, right? So we have to like rely on that. And but the most important thing actually is what am I going to do while you providing the income to make sure all the stress, all the work doesn't lay back on you, right? So all the things that you were doing that may not involve money wise. Let's say you were probably home and like taking care of like the family and stuff. I have to pick up all those now. Like I have to be the one taking care of the home while I'm looking for a job, and maybe she can ask for more hours at that job to make up a little bit more. So just reduce as much pressure as you can on her now, so she can focus on that other aspect of it and like paying the bills while I'm doing all the other stuff that may not require money, but also I'm just to make sure things stay afloat. Like I'll be the one cooking now,
Yeah.
be the one cooking. Make sure when she come back to home, when she come back home, she don't have to do like she don't have to ask about man, worry about like preparing meals and stuff. Like I have to do that now. Like even I have to do her laundries and stuff. Like just reduce as much pressure as you can on her, and just stay afloat. But it comes back to communication, right? And also who you end up finding yourself with, like, because I feel like it's moments like that that you get to learn so much with about the people that you're with. I mean, obviously you should have known that before marrying them, anyways,
Yeah.
right? But you get to see a lot more also. And you were not here last week, right? when the last episode that we did, but I was telling this guys and Fatima the same thing of like this amazing experience I had at the cruise, right? This one lady and so they had like a dance floor pretty much in the cruise where like people just come out, dance, right? Like couples, much like old people. And there was this one time, this one lady, her husband, like he's handicapped, like he's on a wheelchair. Whenever the music comes on, she will pull her husband like on a wheelchair and like try to dance with him
That's
still.
love.
Yeah,
That's
right.
definitely love for sure.
And I saw that, I was like, man, this is so like this is very inspiring. Like like most people would be shy to do that. They would
Yeah.
just rather choose to like just sit on the side and watch other people dance.
Yeah.
Or maybe if they dance, they might be just doing like on a on the corner where like not that many focus is on them. But this lady will pull the husband. They will dance until like when the song is over, she'll give him a hug and pull her back to like on the side where everybody's sitting, right? And I was taking photos and videos of them, and it just didn't feel right. I was like, man, I don't want to take photos and videos of this people without me telling them like I did that, right? Because they probably don't want just want to have fun. They don't want like people to be taking photos of them. So I went down and chat with them, and I found out that they've been dating. They've been together for like 25 years.
Wow.
But they recently got married like 3 years ago when the husband got sick, right? Imagine you've been with somebody for that long and you never like got married. They never like thought of marriage. I mean, at that point, like getting married is probably not even important to them, right? And I asked her like, why did you do that? Because I'm pretty sure like getting married probably wouldn't make like any difference between you and this guy since you've been together for that long. And she was like, yeah, but I felt like it was COVID and we didn't have nothing to do, and yeah, I just feel like we should get married now. But how I saw her, I was like, man, what she really probably did is just try to like reassure the guy that yeah, I'm here for like for the longest, like
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. You
That's
know?
love for sure.
Yeah.
How do you why don't you feel like marriages are lasting in today's society? Like honest question.
I think most people are taking it for a joke right now.
Mm.
That's how I say like people like get into like marrying people, and they know that they can get out of it. And it's like whenever the slightest thing happens, they feel like, man, I don't even want to deal with this. And that's not the purpose of getting married, right? Like you might as well just date for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because to me, and where I came from, right, I've always seen marriage as like a commitment to like this one person, for the rest of your life, for better and for worse. Like people literally say that, like this, they say that oath, right? For better and for worse, for rich and for poor. But that's not really what tends to happen. Like most of the time, as soon as things get sour, things get bad, like people just be like, man, I don't have to deal with this. I can get out of it. And sometimes it may seem crazy, like looking at people like from other countries, like the things that they go through, like in their marriage and stuff, and they still choose to like stay in it, especially when you have kids and all that, right? I've heard someone say like, look, I'm in this marriage, like even though I'm not happy here, but I'm not here for me anymore. I have kids with this guy, but I have to make sure I do the right things for my kids. It's not for me anymore because now you have like another life involved in it. Like you have to, so like I have to think like how like is my decision gonna affect the kid? I don't want to make like a selfish move on me, and it has like a negative impact on the kid. And a lot of people tend to not think about that at all. You know.
I
So
think-
yeah, go ahead.
I honestly believe two things why marriage don't last. People do it for the wrong reason, and second, the expectation they have on, their partner or
Yeah.
themselves is just out of this world, right? The expectation, marrying someone's thinking, like, oh, this is it's only gonna be fun, we're never gonna experience downfall, this and that, so or thinking like, yeah, like I'm gonna be such and such. I'm gonna so putting all the expectation onto the marriage is bad, right? Because again, if the marriage don't, once you hit a bump, and then you start doubting yourself in the marriage, right? And then people get into the wrong reason. You get into it just, for example, I'm gonna just speak for a guy's perspective, right? I might see someone, oh yeah, they're nice, this and that. Just look at the outside future, all that stuff, right? Yeah, I'm gonna just go with them,
But
right?
you know nothing about that
Right,
person.
you know nothing.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, okay, well, because all these beauty and social media fame, all this stuff don't really make a marriage last longer.
No.
It don't. What does is the personality, the character,
Yeah.
right? Because you have to find someone who's willing, who you've seen from the get go, is willing to negotiate, just to make things right. Because again, you have to do the same thing. You have to be willing to negotiate to make things right.
And it's definitely like more than love.
It
It's
is.
so much more than love.
People be like, "Oh, I don't feel the love anymore." But
But love is a choice.
right,
Love is such a choice.
you choose to love the person. You choose to be there with the person. But if you decide, well, no, like just because they did this or just because I don't feel the connection anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not all about love. It's being wanting to be there for that person.
And it's like I feel like people, they get married and they get lazy. People you don't date your wife anymore. You don't date your husband anymore. It's just like, hey, we signed this piece of paper, and it's just like, okay, well, all the other shit goes out of the window. When it's like at the end of the day, like you have to choose to still show up for this person. They're gonna make you mad. They're gonna upset you. They're gonna do things that you don't like in your marriage, but you have to continue to show up for this person. You have to continue to choose to love them throughout their flaws, throughout the differences that you guys may have. And I think that in today's society, it's just like, oh, well, I'm not happy, so I'm going to go in the other bedroom. Right. Or I want my space. Well, we're not going to talk. And people don't have, conflict resolution. People don't have honest conversations. And I feel like so many marriages and relationships are so ego driven. It's just egos. It's just egos involved in this middle situation. And it's like, well, you're not seeing my side and I don't care to see your side. So
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm going to leave. I'm going to file for divorce, or I'm going to leave this relationship. When honestly, it all could have been fixed if you had put your egos aside and just had an honest conversation and listen and understood where your partner was coming from. Right. Because even if you guys don't agree with whatever the disagreement is or whatever the conflict is, you can agree to disagree and move on.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people have these, egos in the middle of their relationships and marriages. And it's like, I'm going to stand on my pride. I'm not going to, I'm not going to fold.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen as weak, or I don't want to just,
Yeah, but your partner should be the only one that sees you as weak.
Yeah.
Not someone else. So I don't think that's an issue if your partner sees you as weak.
There's nothing wrong with your partner seeing you weak, because there are going to be times where, people say, oh, people have this 50-50 conversation. And I feel like a relationship or a marriage is not 50-50.
Nah.
I feel like it's a 100-100. You both have to bring 100% to the relationship in some way, shape, or form. And I don't know. It's like some days you as a man, you can't bring 100% to the table. You can only bring 70. Right. Your wife has to lift up that other percentage, or there's some days your wife can only bring 30% to the table. You got to lift that 70%.
So you see, some of these stuff, right? You will have to literally from the get go, you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you let them slide, eventually they're gonna come back and bite you.
Yeah.
So if you feel like, because again, for me, I'm not asking my partner to say you need to do this, but again, if my partner decide, oh, this week or this month I'm gonna choose to put money, or this month I'm not gonna choose. Yeah. To me, that tells me you're not committed.
Yeah.
Because you have to be willing to. If you're gonna put certain amount, just put it. Don't keep say, oh, I'm a do it today. Next week I'm not doing. Like, no.
And I feel like you gotta have a strong foundation. I feel like people get into marriages and the foundation's already broken, or it's already like rocky foundation. So it's only gonna continue to crumble.
Yeah.
You start off with small problems that you've ignored this entire time while you guys were dating, but I love this person, or there's like lust involved. So it's like, I'm infatuated by this person, and we get married, and it goes downhill.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people actually, that's the issue when you go into something knowing you can easily just come out of it, right? I mean, just by that type of mindset, right, you already setting yourself up to like not wanting to give it a try at all. When things are going smooth, because I mean, to be honest, like you would never have like you know, like
That's true.
honeymoon moment like throughout your entire time with this person. You have to envision like when things get rocky, right? How do we go about that? And that's one thing also like you have to be very mindful of like when you're dating somebody, right? Right? Like when things are not going well, like how do you two like come together and like have those discussions and like try to solve it, right? And if that has been going well for you guys, right, then it seems like something that is bound to last long. Like you should be able to like have those same difficult conversations when you're married together, and like just look past that, because instead of me seeing you as this very ugly person, like somebody that have like all this nasty habits and stuff. I am not looking through that, but instead we should look at like how can we make sure we do better than this. Like this does not happen anymore. So pretty much think of like a win-win situation, right? Like how can me and you come out of this situation with both of us being happy, instead of me wanting to be like prove myself that I was right the whole time. Like it's not gonna solve anything when you off the minds of like just trying to prove yourself right. Because all you're doing, you're just making the other person feel bad about themselves,
Yeah.
like whatever they did, right? And you don't want to make people feel. Nobody want to be put in that type of situation, because they're gonna try to defend themselves, and the more they try to do that, the more they're gonna try to make you look bad. Also, you too, you did this some couple months ago. Like, how is that gonna solve anything? Instead, like just focus on what happened now, and try to make sure like your intent is to make sure she come out of that conversation like feeling better about moving forward and stuff.
Yeah, because I personally believe that I believe that every woman needs a man,
For sure.
right? Of course.
We need each other.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
I
We
was
need
gonna
each
say
other.
that.
People
Right.
try to like,
So whenever I hear, you know, people talk about, oh yeah, I got my job, I'm independent, I'm this and that. I'm like, do you really?
who's gonna love you? Who's gonna
Right.
pour into you? Who's gonna uplift you?
So they've it's like they're so in terms of I don't need no one. I don't need a man. So that attitude alone, and you get into a relationship, something small happen, you're gonna bounce off and leave.
That's why it's crazy, because like for me, people, when you were saying like people say they don't need somebody,
Uh-huh.
like me, I'm sorry, I need a woman in my life. Like it's balance. It's balance. And for me specifically, like I love black women, and I need a strong, not strong in the sense of like, you know,
Like just working.
not just working, but I need a strong black woman in my life. That's how I'm able to function. That's how I'm able to bounce my ideas off of and have somebody in my corner that's, I can not only root
Supporting
on,
you.
but supporting me. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's making it worse is social media and people, idolizing these social media relationships that don't even last long, right? See them saying, "Oh, their man got them this stuff. Their man got," but do you really know? Like, you can't compare us,
At the end of the day, you can lose that tomorrow.
right?
And what you have each other. But do you really have each other because you don't have that solid foundation that should have been established there?
Right, that's from the get go.
So I had a conversation with my girlfriend. And I asked her, I was like, hey, how would you feel about going to therapy? I know we're only dating right now, like in a relationship, but how would you feel about going to therapy, like going to couples therapy? And she was like, I'm down to do that. And the reason I asked her if we can do that is because I do want to establish a solid foundation, like now in the beginning, because
Yeah.
especially if you see this person as someone you want to continue things with and establish a future with, you want that solid foundation already established. So, because you can go to, even though things are good now, you can go to therapy and someone else from a different perspective
Yeah.
can see, little small things that need to be tweaked that you might not see because,
Yeah.
you're in that quote unquote honeymoon, phase or whatever you want to call it. But I don't think going to therapy is always like a bad thing, or you're going for like things are rocky. It's just keeping that, foundation solid and strong.
All right, because A lot of times people say if you're able to pass the 10-year mark,
Yeah.
and that means you've pretty much experienced everything,
You pretty much experience everything. Yeah.
you know. But yeah, I mean, it does help, and I feel like people need to be open minded and love someone because of them. Don't love them because what they can offer you in terms of financial. Like, no, that shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, if they lose all of that stuff, you're gonna
Yeah.
bounce off. So you loving them for the wrong reason, wrong intention. So be there for them. I guess try to make them happy, same way as they try to make you happy as well. And be supportive. But I think that's what a lot of people have lost these days. So that's why it's hard. Trying to
Traditional values
say
are gone.
right.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a traditional man. I'm just that's just who I am. I can't help it. I can't help. I need a woman at home.
Yeah.
They can have a job, but what I feel like, yeah, what they're supposed to do at home, like in terms of the other stuff, they can do it.
Yeah.
But still have a job, of course, because you're not gonna limit someone. You still need help, regardless what it is. But yeah, I'm just a traditional man. So
We definitely live in a society where traditional values are just like out the window. Like it's a struggle to buy your woman flowers or to like write a nice letter. And I'm gonna be honest, like, yeah, women want these like nice things, and we have these conversations about, oh my gosh, like I want to be taken to this restaurant and that restaurant. But it's like at the end of the day, like if somebody takes the time to write you a letter and pour their heart out, you're gonna cherish that. And we've lost these traditional values because we see these things on social media that show us like, oh my gosh, like my man just bought me a bag, or
right.
or like, oh, I'm gonna buy her this car, X, Y, and Z, when it's like
Without even putting any thought into
any thought.
it's just a gift.
No.
That's it.
It's no love that goes into that.
Yeah.
If we're being completely honest, it's no love.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, like it's mostly like the thought behind like the gift, right? It's not just the gift. Well, it's like, look, you would see like couples, right? They go to McDonald's, have a meal, and they leave McDonald's. Both of them feeling great,
Yeah.
right? Or you would see like these two other couples like went to a nice fancy place, have a meal, and they would just leave. They just had very very upset at each other, right? You would think like the people that have like the dinner like in a nice place should be the happy ones, but really it's not. It's the experience that that people are more seeking. Like how much thought do you put into it? Like I can have money to like just put a freaking any car in your face and all that, but after like you make me pissed after I made you pissed, right? But without me apologizing, that car don't mean nothing to them. Because I'm not really showing you that I'm truly sorry about what I did. I'm just trying to solve the problem with like, material stuff.
Right.
And also like when you were chatting about like loving someone not for like, what they provide you or like what they bring to you, but solely like loving them for like, something else. I think you like, even though sometimes like what may seem like you could lose love like after a period of time, but you can also bring back that feeling, You just have to understand like who you love and like what they're truly passionate about, Bring that experience, that similar experience to them, like time to time. You can always bring back that spark of love with them, like to them, right? And yeah, some like it's very important for like you to actually like looks and attractiveness and all that, right? It's also very important, right? But that should not be like the only reason why you date someone, because at the same time you don't want to end up with someone that you're not even attracted to at all.
Right.
Like you're gonna like end up hating them for that, just because you weren't like initially attractive to them. But find someone that you're truly attractive with, right? Get to know them and find more reasons to like actually love them more. That's that would take you like a long way.
Yeah, I also believe that bringing that spark is basically just be somewhat every now and then, even if it's like a
dinner dates, or at home. Y'all can do it at home, or get
Just
like
showing initiative.
right.
Yeah,
get
regular
like
dates
a
is very necessary, you know.
Yeah.
Like even
hang
if it's just
out,
like
go to the
movie nights.
movies
It
or
doesn't have to be
whatever.
like a special occasion, to show
Yeah.
somebody how much you care about them.
Yeah, you can even while they're at work say, you know what, I'm gonna cook a nice meal, set up a table at home and this and that. When they come, stuff like that, they'll feel appreciative.
Yeah.
It always brings that memory back. Like they can remember like when you guys first met,
Yeah.
how you guys used to spend time. Like it always come back.
Yeah. It's like it's more so like about the memories of like you spending time with this person, right? It's not like really all the things that they're giving you. It's just like the time, you know. The worst thing you could do like make someone feel like they've wasted like so much time with you, man. But like, man, those guys just wasted like a couple years of my life. That's very, tough situation to like put anyone in.
Yeah, going back to your question, what's your take on it?
Which part? Sorry.
The
Can you
first
put the
question.
mic up a little bit.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, the first question that the man is of course breadwinner doing most of the stuff, and
So for me personally, I believe that two incomes are better than one. Seriously, I believe that two
Yeah.
incomes are better than one. People want to have this whole like 50-50 conversation, and it's like, hey, if you guys are both bringing in an income, that gives you more access to do the things that you want to do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you can travel, you can buy these lavish gifts that you might want to buy your partner. You can go out to eat 3 times, 4 times a week if you want to, because you're bringing in two incomes. I think when you start bringing money into the situation, and that's when it becomes a problem, because things are taken care of, like the bills are taken care of, the mortgage is taken care of. Why are we stressing about it? We're both bringing in an income, so I think whatever works for you two, and wherever that balance is for you two guys, how it looks financially from your standpoint is, everyone's financial standpoint looks different. So whatever works for you works for you.
I got a question for you, right?
Yeah.
You say, obviously, like two incomes is better than one, right?
Yeah.
But what if, like, you find yourself with somebody that their spending habit, right, just doesn't align with you, even though they're probably still, using their own money and stuff? Do you feel like you have like any rights, like, at least make them be mindful of like how they use their money, or you feel like that's their money, they can choose to do whatever they want to do with it?
So I think that you should know that's something you should pick up on when you guys are dating.
yeah,
Before it even gets to marriage, you can see how their spending habits are, what their credit is like, and how they manage their money. And I think that's a conversation that you should have early on before you guys even get to marriage, because if you wait until you guys get to marriage, then it's going to cause problems after problem after problem, and then
Yeah.
it only goes downhill from there. Me personally, I am a man who I believe in working hard and elevating in life, and I do see myself getting to a level where if my wife chooses that she doesn't want to work, she doesn't have to. Because if she chooses, if she says, hey, I would not like to work, I would like to just take care of the household. Okay, that's
no,
fine.
that's fair. That's fair.
And even with getting married and having kids one day, I don't want my wife to work for at least a year after having my kid, because you're putting your life on the line. You're putting so much on the line to have this child and carry this child. So it just doesn't make sense to have a kid, be out of work for like 2 or 3 months, and then go back to work
Right
while
away,
your
yeah.
body's still healing. You're still, getting out of postpartum and stuff like that. So like, no, whenever my wife gets pregnant and we have a kid in the future, like if you don't want to work for a year or two, like, yo, kick your feet up and do your thing.
All right.
I'll take care of everything else.
Yeah, I think that's having a common ground. It's good, and spending habit you can determine that at an earlier stage. If something that you're okay with, fine. If something that you're not okay with, then you have to have a talk about it. If they're willing to change, fine. If they're not, then you still make your choice after that.
Yeah, but I think what we should also understand that people do change over time.
That is true.
It's very possible, like the person that you were with, like let's say for example, like me and you were like broke as hell, right? You can't see like they spend. Sometimes you can still see the spending, how even from like the small purchases that they make, but sometimes you're not able to see those, right? Oh, people just flat out change. Like now, I feel like, man, we got like this whole lot of money, so I can get to buy this stuff, buy this stuff, buy this stuff, and yeah, I mean, it's very tough, position to be in. Like, but I feel like that's why we are together. Also, like, if I'm seeing that we're supposed to like be trying to like, you know, push for the better of like each other, right? It might be like your own money still, but if I feel like we trending towards like the positive way, you have to be comfortable to like make comments in there at least, like just let it be known because that whoever that person is, I mean, they might be making like all those decisions like subconsciously without them even knowing.
But
But
would you still say, yeah, I'm gonna still marry that person, even after, dating for like let's say, being together as boyfriend girlfriends for like 3 years or so, and still advising them constantly, and still they haven't changed? Would you still say, yeah, I'm gonna still go ahead and marry them,
So
and expect them to change again?
I think in that case, there's only so much you can try.
Yeah.
And if somebody just has terrible spending habits and it's just not working out and they, they can't figure it out, you just have to, like, you can still love that person, but at the end of the day, like,
yeah, I
If
think
you're okay with it,
I think
you
it
can go ahead.
if you're
But if
okay
you're
with it,
not,
you can
then
stay.
yeah.
But
I-
if you're not, then
Yeah, I think it comes to like also like compromising, right? Like, I mean, that should. I mean, it depends also like if you can you have to make sure since like you've noticed that, right, and you see them they're not changing for that, right? It's possible they may just have bad spending habit, but they're doing pretty well on like everything else. Like they're very careful, they're very thoughtful of you. They know they have like high values for like their family and stuff. They raise the kids really well. So now it becomes my responsibility, right, to make sure we're in a best situation. Like you can spend like you want to spend so much, you can spend your own money, right? But like what I'm making should not be part of that. I have to make sure not put myself in a situation where you know um, like she does not have access to this side of the money. But we have to have that conversation. Spend as much as you can, but that is only if she's bringing in value from like other places also, because nobody's perfect, right? Because I mean, if you look at the flip side of it, you may have like a wife that's pretty good at like managing money and all that, but there may be a very terrible wife or like very terrible mom. So it's just all about like what you can accept and what you can compromise. Like, do you value this more than that, or do you feel like it's something that you should be able to manage and stuff?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Because
I think-
money is like one of the biggest issues actually in like marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
Because one of the leading reason why people divorce is lack of money.
yeah.
Because when there's not money to like pay the bills and all that, the wife is gonna be stressed and it's gonna
Not,
start
not
like.
just the wife. You,
Not,
you.
I'm just
Yeah,
yeah,
we-
I'm
we
just giving
stress
an
a lot.
example.
We
Yeah.
just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I strongly believe in having two incomes. One person, yes, you can still get the job done, but again, you're gonna be stressful. Like you're gonna be maybe might put extra hours and stuff, and it might also hinder if you want to do something outside. You can't do it because if you're the only one putting income, then
And who's to say that it's gonna always be like that the whole marriage? Like,
Yeah.
you guys, I don't know. As a man, you could elevate to a higher level and bring in so much money that she doesn't ever have to work
Yeah.
because things change over time.
oh yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Interesting question, right? This guy's last week they asked me a very very interesting question, right? The last episode we did, and pretty much they were asking me, I'm like, what if I'm dating someone, because I'm into traveling too, right? What if I end up dating someone that is not into traveling? Would I like travel without them? And I feel like that question is perfect for you.
There's no
also.
relationship.
Yeah, into relationship.
There's no relationship.
There's a relationship.
Like, no, I'm sorry. That's a deal breaker. If you don't have a passport, no, actually take that back. If we start dating and you don't have a passport, the first thing we're doing is getting you a passport. Now, if there's no initiative to get you a passport, we're not dating.
But wait, how about let's say, of course, they might not if their job won't let them travel all the time. I mean, you can travel for work, but you can't travel and leave them here for pleasure.
Yeah.
You won't be doing that. So would that be a deal breaker or no?
Yes. There's no relationship.
So okay, well maybe you might help them get like a virtual job so they can travel with
No.
you.
No.
So how are you gonna have a solid relationship if the job is permanently like on the state?
We can travel during breaks or something.
Okay.
But
But
so I think it just depends on what job your significant other has.
Mm-hmm.
Like my significant other, she has a job that she gets breaks throughout the year, so we can travel during those breaks.
Okay.
But I mean,
But during the time that she can't travel, would you still
either I'll,
take a trip, like just for
but
pleasure,
at the same
or
time,
no?
like you have weekend getaways and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
But no, I don't ever see myself dating somebody that just can't travel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just my preference.
Yeah.
That's my preference.
No. It's not bad at all, right? I actually do like the answer because look, what's the point of you putting yourself in a situation to trying to change someone, right? And that's another issue also where people get in a relationship knowing like all the red flags of this people, like all the things they don't like about that person, right? And they feel like they're superhuman, like I'll be the one to change this person.
Yeah,
That's not something that you really want to sign yourself off.
you're gonna
for,
make
right?
yourself unhappy.
Yeah, because you're gonna try so hard to like change that person, and when they're not changing, they're gonna feel bad about themselves because they're feeling like they're not enough for you, and stuff. Rather, like he is saying that I have to be with someone that we share like the same interest, right?
Yeah,
So it kind of like reduce, limit like the amount of people that you have to go to also because you know that yes, this person is not into traveling at all. Then I don't have to before I waste like each other's time, just let them find like who's for them, right? Because not everyone is for everyone. So I would just go find me someone that it's into traveling, and that's pretty much solve like the bigger puzzle, and now we can just focus on something else on like how we can be better. So
because me,
yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
I want to see the world. That's just who I am. I want to
Yeah.
see the world. I want to go out. I want to go in random villages, and I don't know.
Okay, let's say you met this person, right?
Okay.
You guys are this seems like they will be a great partner, but you guys never talked about traveling, and then decided to go out, and they
Wait, we
said,
never what?
like
Talked
you've
about
never talked
traveling.
about traveling.
That's impossible.
No, I'm just saying.
That's impossible.
You did not check out my Instagram
That's
page?
did you not see my?
That's like the first question.
That's the first conversation. Yes.
Okay.
I'm
So
gonna ask
what
them,
would you
like,
do if they said they can't, like they don't want to travel? What would you like? Would you just drop the conversation right there and
we
then,
can be
or
friends.
you tell them straight up, let's be friends. This
Yeah, I'd
is
be
not
like,
gonna
let's be
work out.
friends. Because
And if they ask you why,
we don't have this, we don't share the same interests. Because if I'm traveling and I come home and tell you about my trip and you're just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, what do you mean that's cool? I'm standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, or I'm standing at the Grand Canyon. What do you mean that's cool?
All right.
Like you don't share the same excitement that I share. There's
Yeah.
no way. Impossible. So we can just be friends. That's
yeah,
cool.
that's why I also feel like people need to be open minded to try
Yeah.
different experiences.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying like, okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna say like we have to travel internationally because that's just, I think that's just, people prioritize in their life what brings them happiness.
Yeah.
You know, some people like drinking, they're gonna spend all their money on alcohol. Some people like smoking, they're gonna spend all their money on smoking. I like traveling, so I make it work for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I was single and I was, back in the dating scene or whatever, there's somebody out there that shares the same interests as me, that we equally align in some, all those ways. So it's going to work out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some people who their wife or their husband can't travel as much as they do, and they make it work. Even if it's like one trip a year, they still make it work. And they might take small trips, once a month or every other month. So I think it's just finding that balance and finding someone whose lifestyle work with yours intertwines. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I told them, right? I was like, man, I don't mind whoever I'm dating, right? If they're not into traveling and stuff. But they should not try to like stop me from doing it. Like I don't mind traveling by myself either. So like if they're not into travel, I'm fine. I'm
I'm
fine.
gonna see you when I get back.
See you when I get back.
I'm fine with
safe.
them. Like yeah, no. I would always like invite them, right? If they be like,
Yeah.
even though like I may know that they may not come. It's like all right, fine. I'm still going. And but I'll be back in a week and stuff. And I met this guy in Mexico right last year. It was the same. So like the hotel that I stayed, I met him like outside and stuff. And one of the days that I was hanging out with him, like he got on the phone with his girlfriend and stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, man, I have to do this just regularly to keep her happy and stuff." It's like, how do you get
That
to
sounds
travel? Like
miserable. That
your
sounds
girl
like a
is not here.
miserable
You
life
just
to
stay by
live.
It
yourself.
is, man, because like you're out there seeing other couples
Yeah.
and you just there.
Yeah, he was just telling me, man, look, I'm into traveling and stuff, and she's not into that. But I still have to do it to make myself happy. But I'm doing like this regular FaceTime calls to make her happy, like being at home, just so she can know like I'm not messing around and stuff.
This guy,
I
he
was like,
calls his girlfriend on
Yeah.
FaceTime while he's in this beautiful Mexican
Nah.
resort. Like, no.
You need to be there with me.
Exactly.
Come on
And
now.
I've been in relationships like that where I've been traveling and they've been at home, and it's boring. Like it's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and both of you always gonna have that doubt, like saying, "I wonder what they're doing."
And this is not me downing people who don't like traveling, because hey, do what works for you. Do what makes you happy. But over here, we're getting a passport stamp.
You know what would be funny? Like the conversation, let's say you travel without your partner and come back home, like, and you have this itch of like, telling them like everything that happens, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to hear
You're
it.
like, man,
I don't want to hear it
Yeah.
because they weren't there.
Yeah.
it's fun to you, not to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been a great chat, man.
It has. Gatorade, please give them a sponsorship.
All right.
They need a
Gatorade's
sponsorship.
here, of course, man. But
That would
yeah.
be dope. Thank you
Thanks
for
so much.
inviting me, having me
Yeah,
back.
thanks so much for coming on, man. It's like I said, you always, welcome to come on. And it's always been like very inspiring, just having you and learning
Yeah.
about the things. No, actually, before I wrap this thing up, right, I have a very interesting question because
What's up?
when I go through your page, right,
Okay.
and seem like over the years, like you just like found a way to like do like just cool things, or meet with like very interesting people. How do you go about that? That's one. If you don't mind,
No,
like
no, of
putting it
course.
on camera, and what drives you to like doing this thing? Because like you are super diverse, right? Like you go to this place, and I think one of the other time like you were like in a freaking bag from like making pancakes or like
Yeah, at
shit
a
was
bakery
like-
or something.
yeah. I was like, man, that is so
Yeah.
fun.
Was it in Chicago?
was that?
That was for work.
Oh.
That was for work.
Yeah, because you made it. You was like first time doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Let's see. For me, it all resorts back to the bucket list. It all resorts back to the bucket list. Like I just make a bucket list. And I'm just like, who do I want to meet? Who do I want to meet next year? Or what room do I want to be in next year? Where do I want to take a picture at? And I just make a list of these things that I want to do. And I tell myself, like, putting pen to paper, like, hey, I'm such a powerful manifester. So me writing these things down is me manifesting these things and putting it out there. So it's holding myself accountable to achieving these things that I want to accomplish. So putting myself in rooms and like, going to the White House or meeting the president or whatever the case may be, it's networking, figuring out, hey, how can I bridge these connections? Even if I'm meeting somebody's assistant or meeting somebody's secretary, eventually it's going to happen. That's what I tell myself. I know it's going to happen. So I think you having that unconscious belief of these things are going to happen eventually and not putting a timeline on it, it's just going to happen. It comes true.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just find myself in like the weirdest places in the world, or like
I think it's very
doing
cool,
unique
man.
things. I thank you. I don't know.
So I'm pretty sure, like, because obviously, like, the average person cannot get to do, like, most of those things, like, that you do, right? Like, it's not easy to pull that off, right? And I'm pretty sure you've had, like, so many rejects. Like,
I think that the average
over and
person
over.
can though.
Yeah.
With time.
Not in a sense.
I think
Not in the money
I think
wise.
anyone can
It's
do
time.
it. I think anyone can do, but I don't think the average person can.
And I think that
You understand what I mean?
yeah, for some of the things that I do, I am able to do. I think that people think that it's a money thing, but if we're being honest, it's most of the time it's off of networking and who you know. Because like having certain people in your call log, your contact list, and being able to reach out and bridge these connections allows you to meet the people who you want to meet or be in the rooms that you want to be in.
Yeah.
So like for instance, say if I wanted to, I don't know, say if I wanted to meet Vladimir Putin one day.
Very interesting name.
It might cost somebody to do that, but say if I have a friend who knows somebody else that can bridge that connection, and he just may happen to be in this specific place, if I can place myself in that specific place, they can make that happen for me. And then it happens. So I think it's all about how determined you are to make your dreams come true in a sense.
How do you deal with rejections? Because I'm pretty sure people have told you, no, this is impossible.
All the time.
How do you deal with that?
It fuels me.
Do you tell them, no, make it happen? No.
I'm like, people, you get a rejection. Okay, that's cute. I'm not going to stop. No, I'm going to continue. Like, I'm going to continue to send emails. I'm going to continue to make phone calls. I'm going to continue to like push, just so I can make this happen. Because at the end of the day, when December 31st comes and I go back and look back at my bucket list, I'm like, damn, I made it happen.
That is very interesting, man. Have you ever read this book called The Third Door?
What is it?
The Third Door? Something
Third
like
Door?
that?
No.
Yeah. It's interesting. You've never read it, but so pretty much like his concept, right? He was trying to sell the idea of like pretty much what you just did, right? Was like we always have like 3 ways of like getting to like anything, right? The first way is like the VIP way, where like, you know, let's say Beyonce's having a show in DC, right? The VIP way is like you know, you get to like beat all the traffic and you just walk in. VIP, and you get like front row, you know, like watching Beyonce like right next to you, right? Yeah. And we also have like the general admin way, which is like for the public, you know. That one is not usually guaranteed. It's very slow because like everyone is going through that route, right? But and you have to be on time for you to be able to get in. But at the same time, you have to do like traffics, right? Because everybody else is going through that route, right? And we have like the third way, which is like you know, the unknown way, right? It's like you said, like the connections, like the, you know, going to like the same venue, like with no ticket and stuff to to even be at the place, right? But you know, like the security guard, you can talk with them. It's like, man, Beyonce's my favorite artist, man. Like I need to find a way to go in, even though you have no freaking ticket to like get in there, but you have connection. And most of the time, those are the ones that you see at the backstage with Beyonce and stuff. They get to like actually get like the, you know, better experience, even the VIP. But it's all based on like them using like their, you know, finding like the unusual route and try to find a way to get in there. And this guy, like he used that same concept and like doing like all these interviews, right? Just a regular guy. He found a way to get on TV through that same concept, and he got on the show. He won like some money like on the show and stuff, doing that, like going through the back way. He found his way to like interview Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, like met with like all these very, very important people and stuff, just by doing that. Like just, and he was saying like how he was like super annoying, you know, having to deal with like rejections and stuff. Like his first meeting was with another author, the guy that wrote like the 4 Hours Walk with, what's his name, Tim Ferriss, and he wouldn't stop like just emailing like his admin and the guy until they were like, man, yes, come in, let's do it.
You got to do that because I think it shows the persons you're trying to meet dedication. It shows them that you're willing to go above and beyond to, you know, bridge this gap and make this meeting happen. And people have this, you know, this conversation about like, you know, the $500,000 in Jay-Z. Have you seen that in the media?
I've seen it.
I'm taking the money, first of all. I'm sorry. Love you, Jay-Z. I love all your music. But I can make that meeting happen another way. And if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. If it's not meant to happen, it just won't happen. And you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you gotta understand. If you let's say you take the money, right?
Yeah.
You invest the money the right way. Let's say you invest into like business and stuff like that. You're already a millionaire.
Yeah.
So you're already at the same, not the same level as Jay-Z, but
Yeah.
you can see Jay-Z.
You're on the road to get there.
You put yourself in a better
Right.
position.
Because if Jay-Z is going to that same investment type stuff that you already doing, you're in the same room as him.
Exactly.
So
And who's to say that you don't find out who his accountant is or who his
Yeah.
management firm
His
is
admin
that
and
handles
all
his
that.
money? So if you're going in and you're having a meeting with that person, who's to say you're not going to run into Jay-Z while you're investing your money that,
yeah.
that you took?
Yeah, it's
Man.
funny because Jay-Z actually did say like he would like advise
said,
anyone to take
Take
the
the
money.
money,
I was like-
listen to my music.
yeah, it's like, man, that's very interesting.
That's
But yeah,
interesting.
man,
That was a really good question.
no, man, but yeah, I mean, just like I said, like super like inspired and like all those things that you do, even though like I don't get to do that as much as I can, but just seeing someone like making those things like happen, it makes me like kind of like have the same passion like the things that I want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's always a way, like even though like you may feel like your back is against the wall or like things are not going for you, like people just have to get very used to like like hearing like no for an answer, right? Like when someone tell you no, that don't mean like it's the end of it. Sometimes it's like so people tell you no just to see like how like persistent you are, like how bad you really want this thing, right? And if you really want it like very bad, like you're just gonna keep going for it,
Yeah.
And sometimes we also have to be very comfortable with rejections. Like if some things are just not meant to be, right? If that's the case, then just move on. Like don't take it personal. That's just life. Like you can't have like everything you wanted,
Yeah, I think you hear a lot of times people that work in tech saying that they've applied more than, let's say, 30 jobs and get rejection in all 30s,
gotta
But
apply
they still
30 more.
continue.
Yeah.
You still continue applying. You still continue to work out. Because, again, I've been through that. Like, I applied to tons, and every day I look at my email, sorry, we didn't select your service. It's like, every day. But then I'll go back online, apply. Apply to different jobs.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
I
it's
think
just what it
also
is.
like what's very important, right, is try to make sure like you have like a very small scope, right? Because like if you just put out this mass application out, right, and you just waiting for people to reach back to you, right? Because that's one thing also I learned. Like sometimes like you see all this hiring managing, they would intentionally not reach out to anyone because they actually want to see like who's gonna like follow up and stuff. So just I also like focus like on a small group of company that you're very interested in, not just job wise, but like anything, right? Like try to make sure you limit yourself as much as you can, right? And just focus on that group. Give them like your very best shot. If all this I mean, it's usually very unlikely for all of them. Like, if you really, like, put, like, a lot of pressure to, like, all of them, it's usually unlikely for, like, all of them to reject you, right? But if that's the case, right, then you can focus your group. You can then focus on another small set of group and give them the same shot instead of putting out, like, all this mass, trying to reach out for, like, everything else. Yeah.
That makes sense.
But yeah, man, we can finally get to wrap this thing up now before I have more questions. But yeah, thanks so much for sticking to the end of this, and thanks again for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
it.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Of
you.
course, man. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.